The Silent Orbit. A sci-fi horror short story. The first thing Lieutenant Amy Vance noticed was the silence. Not the usual hum of the station's circulatory systems, nor the distant thrum of the fusion core. This was a deeper silence, the kind that felt engineered, as if something had reached into the station's metallic bones and pinched every sound into nothing. She floated through the corridor, mag boots disengaged, drifting past flickering strips of emergency lighting. The air tasted metallic, sharp, like the aftermath of an electrical fire. Her helmet display pulsed with warnings. Comms offline, atmosphere breach in sectors 3, 7, unidentified energy signatures detected. She already knew all of that. She'd seen it happen. The station, Erebus 9, had been a research outpost orbiting the gas giant Varelion. A quiet assignment. A skeleton crew. A place where nothing ever happened. Until the night the stars bent. Until the night the aliens arrived. Amy steadied herself against a handrail and activated her suit's internal recorder. Lieutenant Vance, log entry. I don't know. Timekeeping is down. I'm moving toward the central hub. If anyone finds this, the station has been compromised by... She hesitated. What word could possibly describe them? By an unknown, technologically superior species. They're inside the station. They're hunting us. She ended the recording. Ahead, the corridor curved into darkness. Her helmet light cut a narrow beam through the void, illuminating drifting papers, a floating wrench, droplets of blood, suspended like tiny red planets. She swallowed hard and pushed forward. The first sign. 12 hours earlier, the station had been alive with routine. Amy had been in the observation dome with Dr. Daniel Rourke, the station's astrophysicist, cataloging gravitational anomalies near the gas giant. Rourke had been rambling excitedly about the readings. Something about space-time distortions, something about impossible energy signatures. Then the dome's glass had rippled. Not cracked, not shattered. Ripples, like water disturbed by a stone. Rourke had stepped closer, breath fogging the glass. "That's not possible," he whispered. The ripples intensified, forming concentric rings. Light bent, stars warped. The dome vibrated, and then something pushed through. A shape, metallic, fluid, shifting like a machine learning how to be alive. It phased through the glass as if the barrier were optional. No alarms triggered. No breach registered. The station's sensors didn't even acknowledge it. Rourke had screamed. Amy had frozen. The thing unfolded, expanding like a blooming flower made of chrome and shadow. Tendrils of light extended from its core, scanning, probing, tasting the air. Then it emitted a sound, a harmonic pulse that bypassed the ears and resonated directly in the skull. Rourke collapsed instantly, blood streaming from his nose. Amy had run. Survivors. Now, drifting through the darkened corridor, Amy reached the central hub. The door was half open, jammed by a bent support beam. She forced it aside and slipped inside. 3 figures turned toward her, weapons raised. "Friendly," she hissed, raising her hands. The weapons lowered. Chief Engineer Lien Torres exhaled shakily. "Amy, thank God." Beside her stood Medic Jonah Hale and Communications Officer Priya Senator. All 3 looked exhausted, pale, and terrified. Amy sealed the door behind her. "Status." Torres rubbed her temples. "Bad. Really bad. Whatever those things are, they're inside every major system. They move through walls. They disable electronics just by being near them." Priya added, "They're not just invading the station. They're studying it. Studying us." Jonah swallowed. "Rourke." Amy shook her head. Silence fell. Torres finally spoke. "We need to get to the escape pods." "They're gone," Priya whispered. "I checked. Something melted them, like they were erased." Amy felt her stomach drop. "Then we need another plan." Jonah pointed to a holographic map flickering above the central console. "There's still the maintenance shuttle in Docking Bay C. It's old, but it might fly." Torres nodded. "If we can reach it." Amy looked at the map. The route was long. Too long. and half the corridors were marked in red, compromised. "We move fast," she said. "We stay quiet, and we don't split up." Priya's voice trembled. "They're listening. I can feel it." Amy didn't disagree. The first encounter. They moved through the station in a tight formation, magboots engaged now for stability. The emergency lights cast long shadows across the walls, making every corner feel alive. Halfway to the docking bay, they heard it. A soft, rhythmic clicking. Not mechanical, not organic. Something in between. Torres froze. "It's close." The clicking grew louder, echoing through the ventilation shafts. Amy raised her plasma cutter, finger trembling on the trigger. Then the lights flickered. A shape materialized at the far end of the corridor. Tall, angular, shifting like liquid metal struggling to hold a form. Its surface reflected the emergency lights in fractured patterns. Tilted its head. The clicking stopped. Then it emitted the same harmonic pulse Amy had heard in the dome. Priya screamed and collapsed, clutching her head. "Move!" Amy shouted. The creature surged forward, gliding above the floor, its limbs elongating like blades of living alloy. Jonah grabbed Priya and dragged her into a side corridor. Torres fired her arc welder, sending a burst of white-hot sparks into the creature's torso. The sparks passed through it as if through smoke. It didn't even slow down. Amy fired her plasma cutter. The beam struck the creature's core, and for a moment, its form destabilized, flickering like a corrupted hologram. "Go!" Amy yelled. They sprinted down the corridor, the creature's distorted form phasing through walls behind them. The dead zone. They reached a section of the station where the lights were completely dead. Their helmet lamps cut narrow tunnels through the darkness. Priya was barely conscious, supported by Jonah. Torres whispered, "Why did your shot affect it?" "Nothing else has." Amy shook her head. "I don't know. Maybe I hit something important. Or maybe," Jonah said quietly, "they're not invincible. Just different." Priya stirred. "They're not trying to kill us." Everyone turned to her. "They could have. Easily. But they don't. They're mapping us. Learning how we respond. They're testing limits." Amy felt a chill. "How do you know that?" Priya's eyes were unfocused. "Because they're in my head." Jonah tightened his grip on her. "She's delirious." "No," Priya whispered. "They communicate through resonance, through thought. They're not individuals. They're a network. A single mind distributed across multiple forms." Torres muttered, "Great. A hive mind." Priya shook her head weakly. "Not a hive. A collective intelligence. They're not malicious. They're curious. But their curiosity is destructive." Amy exhaled slowly. "We keep moving." The nursery. As they approached the docking bay, they passed through a large chamber that had once been a storage area. Now it was something else entirely. The walls were coated in a shimmering lattice of alien material, metallic strands woven into organic patterns. Pulsing nodes of light dotted the structure, like embryonic stars. Jonah whispered, "What is this?" Priya's voice was barely audible. "A nursery." Torres shuddered. "They're growing." Amy scanned the room. "We go around. Don't touch anything." But as they moved along the perimeter, one of the pulsing nodes split open. A small creature emerged, spherical, metallic, with tendrils of light trailing behind it like jellyfish filaments. It floated toward them, curious. Jonah raised his weapon. "Don't," Priya whispered. "It's a scout. It's not hostile." The creature hovered inches from Amy's visor. She held her breath. Then it emitted a soft pulse, not painful but probing. Images flashed in Amy's mind. The gas giant, the station, the crew, the alien's arrival. Not memories exactly, but impressions. As if the creature were sampling her consciousness. Then it drifted away. Torres exhaled shakily. "Let's get out of here." The docking bay. They reached docking bay C and stopped dead. The maintenance shuttle was there. But so were 3 of the larger alien forms, standing motionless around it like statues. Their bodies flickered with shifting patterns of light, communicating silently. Amy whispered, "We need a distraction." Torres nodded. "I can overload the power conduit in the adjacent corridor. It'll blow the lights, maybe draw them away." Jonah frowned. "Or it'll draw them toward us." "We don't have a choice," Amy said. Torres slipped away to the conduit panel. Amy watched the aliens. They didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't acknowledge their presence. Priya whispered, "They're waiting." "For what?" Jonah asked. "For us." Before Amy could respond, the lights in the corridor behind them exploded in a shower of sparks. The aliens turned in unison, their bodies elongated, limbs sharpening into blade-like forms. Torres sprinted back. "Go!" They ran for the shuttle. The aliens surged forward. Amy fired her plasma cutter, hitting one square in the chest. It flickered violently, collapsing into a puddle of metallic fluid before reforming. Jonah dragged Priya up the shuttle ramp. Torres dove inside. Amy followed, slamming the hatch shut. "Launch!" she shouted. Torres jumped into the pilot seat and activated the engines. Nothing happened. "Come on," Torres muttered, slamming controls. "Come on." Outside, the aliens surrounded the shuttle, placing their hands on the hull. The metal began to glow, softening. "They're melting us," Jonah whispered. Amy grabbed the manual override. "Torres, reroute power from life support. That'll kill us. We're dead anyway." Torres hesitated, then flipped the switch. The engines roared to life. The shuttle lurched upward, tearing free from the melting docking clamps. The aliens recoiled, their forms destabilizing from the energy surge. "Punch it!" Amy yelled. Torres fired the thrusters. The shuttle blasted out of the docking bay into the void. The revelation. For a moment they were safe. Then Priya gasped. "They're coming." Amy looked out the viewport. The aliens were emerging from the station. Not flying, not propelling themselves, but phasing through the hull, drifting toward the shuttle like specters. Torres pushed the engines to maximum. "We can outrun them." "No," Priya whispered. "You can't outrun thought." Amy turned to her. "What are you saying?" Priya's eyes glowed faintly with reflected starlight. "They're not chasing us. They're inviting us." Jonah backed away. "Priya, you're scaring me." "They want us to understand," she said. "They came here because they sensed us. Our technology, our minds. They're explorers. But their way of exploring, it destroys what it touches." Amy shook her head. "We need to get back to human space. Warn them." Priya smiled sadly. "You can't warn them, because they're already listening." The shuttle's lights flickered. The stars outside bent. A ripple spread across the viewport, the same ripple Amy had seen in the observation dome. Torres whispered, "Oh God!" The aliens weren't chasing them. They were surrounding them, enclosing them in a sphere of warped spacetime. Priya reached out and touched Amy's arm. "They're not here to kill us. They're here to take us." "Take us where?" Amy whispered. Priya's voice was barely audible. "Home." The last transmission. Amy activated the shuttle's recorder. "This is Lieutenant Amy Vance of Erebus 9. If anyone receives this transmission, we encountered a species beyond anything we've ever imagined. They are not hostile, but they are not safe. They are explorers who reshape reality to understand it. Our station is gone. My crew is compromised, and we are being taken somewhere else." She paused. "I don't know if we'll survive. I don't know if we'll remain ourselves. But if you find this message, don't come looking for us." The shuttle shuddered as the sphere of warped spacetime closed around it. The stars vanished. The universe folded. And the shuttle was gone. Weeks later, a deep space salvage vessel detected a faint distress signal near Varelion. It was Amy's transmission. But when they reached the coordinates, Erebus 9 was gone. No debris, no orbit, no trace, only a faint ripple in spacetime, like the echo of something passing through a door that was never meant to be opened. And in the silence that followed, the stars bent, just slightly, as if something on the other side were watching.